how much do you think the coaching uncertainty here in Ulster at the moment is affecting this team, if at all, Morris?
No, I think the foundations at the start of the season were put in. Les Kiss has come in, and we've heard so much about the positivity that's coming out of the squad. But with Les Kiss leaving to go to the Autumn Internationals and not going to come back for the rest of the season, that's going to leave 3 Indigenous coaches with no potential head coach. And then who's going to make the decisions when things do go wrong and they have the tough decisions of selection have to be made? Who's going to make that decision? And again, that's a quandary that Ulster are being left with.
Do you expect Ulster to have too much firepower for Edinburgh tonight?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think Ulster are a quality side. I think the blip last week, and it was a blip, and these Edinburgh boys, they are good. They're better players than they've showed. They've got Cornel Dupree's back, Mike Coleman, the captain's back, Grant Gilchrist. They've got some good firepower up front. They've got Visser in the wing who can score tries, as we know. So I think they're up against it. I think Ulster will be too strong for them.
Okay, Andy Morris, thank you very much indeed. Time to join our commentary team this evening. Bryn Cunningham, but first, good evening to Jim Neely.
Well, it's not a bad evening at all. The rain, which had been annoying everybody for most of the day, disappeared about an hour ago, and the pitch will be pretty firm. It's in very good nick, and this is only the second senior game played here. This spanking new stadium this evening. Well, the Edinburgh side, they've got club skipper Mike Coleman back in the back row along with Roddy Grant. 2 internationals, Ross Ford and Grant Gilchrist up front. As welcome back to Belfast, to tight head prop John Andrus. Only one change, Phil Burley in at outside half, and serious pace in Jack Cuthbert, and the high-flying Tim Visser on the wings. This is an Edinburgh side who know that they haven't won here in East Belfast since 2009. Wasn't much between the sides when they met in Murrayfield at the end of last season. All kicks, Paddy Jackson with 3 well-struck penalty goals to 1 by the opposition. Edinburgh hoping for greater things. Murray Best takes the little Ulster mascots by the hand. A lot expected from this crowd in the region of 15,000 this evening. Biggest crowd there's ever been for the visit of any of the Scottish sides. So the photographs taken, and Rory Vest now back to the serious business of leading an Ulster side which lost its way a little bit in the heat of Parma. Rory Murphy and second row forward Alan O'Connor start their very first competitive games in the front and second row. But there's a settled look in the back row with an all-international trio of Dyack, Wilson and Henry. Behind the scrum, Paul Marshall returns. Stuart McCloskey retains his place at 12. Jared Payne returns to 13 after injury, and Louis Ludicus at full back, and 2 pretty handy men outside him, and Tommy Bowe and Andrew Trimble. There's the referee doing his 7th Guinness Pro 12 game, Claudio Blesano from Italy. It is a nice evening here at Ulster headquarters, and it's Phil Burley to get us underway. That was a little bit on the clumsy side by Ulster, and they've conceded possession straight away. So the initial reception of that kickoff, not terribly well done. Kennedy, John Andrus, played his rugby here many years ago at Campbell College, and everybody thought he was destined for great things in the white of Ulster and even the green of Ireland, but he's been a little bit peripatetic since then. A couple of spells with Exeter and Worcester and Harlequins. Mike Coleman, who's a big unit, takes it on Kennedy in the narrow side. This is the loose head prop, the youngster Rory Sutherland, making his first start for Edinburgh. Very promising young prop forward, everybody reckons. Roddy Grant in the middle of all that as ever. That's gone forward, picked up well by Ulster. Ulster's hands nearly letting them down again. Referee saying the advantage is over. Taken on by Franco van der Merwe. He's got to get the body to the ground and present it nicely, and he's done just that, it would seem. Andrus lurking offside, which is his form. Jackson. And that's not a badly placed kick. Back on the Ulster side. And there seemed to be a wee nudge forward, and it's going to be the first scrum. Well, not a great start by Ulster. They should have caught that.
Well, you can see already Edinburgh's style of play. Alan Solomons will probably be quite disappointed that the rain has actually stayed off. Good contesting for the ball there. They'll be disappointed for the knock-on, but Edinburgh looking to take one-off runners straight away from the start. I think Phil Burley's selection at 10 as well shows that They want a lot of experience in tight to the pack, and they'll play a nice tight game and try and suffocate the Ulster pack if possible.
Burley, the New Zealander. Only a point between them, also with that point man advantage. But it's all about technique, and it's all about who wants this more. Now let's see how John Andrus gets on against Rory Murphy. It's Sean Kennedy, 23 years of age, born in Stirling. He was actually a full cousin of the second row forward Grant Gilchrist, Scotland's latest international captain. Well, they've been waiting quite a while to see their heroes back at home. A lot of anxious looking faces as they expect Ulster to come up with the goods this evening. Assistant referees or touch judges are Leo Colgan, incidentally, and Brian McNeice, and Marshall Kilgore is the television match official. Eddie Walsh, also from Ireland, is the sighting commissioner. Penalty straight away to Ulster at the first scrum, and that's encouraging.
Yeah, Ulster are going to pride themselves this year on their scrum. I think we've already seen that Vian Herbst has been a very, very good signing. A real solid boy in the scrum, very good shape, and that'll give him a lot of confidence.
If I heard Mr. Bettorello, he said tight head, which would indicate that the culprit might have been John Andrus. Paddy Jackson, who got a rather nasty bang which required 4 or 5 stitches, trying to stop the zebra try last week, is 100% again. The referee is insisting that Edinburgh move up to the mark. This is Rory Best for the first line out of the evening. Well taken by O'Connor. McCluskey takes on the Edinburgh midfield. Marshall knocked it forward.
Well, that's what Ulster want to stay away from tonight, is those silly little basic errors. They've started pretty well in terms of the set piece. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to make sure you get good, clean line-out ball first up, good, solid scrum. Everything looks good. The shape looks good. So you want to make sure you just cut out, especially whenever you're not under any particular pressure. So you can start getting through a few phases, get everybody's hands on the ball, and that will create a bit of confidence within the side.
Yeah, you've got to make sure that you've got the ball in hand before you look up to see what the options are outside. And that didn't happen. Rory Murphy on the loose head side for Ulster, his first competitive start.
No. Up, guys. Yes. We move.
Now, there must be Ginger Rory McIlroys, because they're certainly not Ginger Rory Bests.
To the body side, okay?
Much as Mr. Best would love to have a head of hair like that, I'm sure.
Seconds.
Having had a word with Messrs. Andrus and Murphy, the referee has now gone round to the side of Messrs. Sutherland and Vian Herbst.
Set.
Murphy's got to keep that arm up. His elbow was bending down, and the touch judge on this side could well be calling the referee's attention to that. He needs to be careful. And he's saying that John Andrus is pulling his arm down, and he's no option but to bend the elbow.
Okay, thank you. Come on, guys. Same scrum.
Well, that looks all right.
Just hold.
Well, I don't know that Andrus is actually pulling down. He's maybe moving down with the shoulders, but it was Murphy's bind that started to slip a little bit.
Crouch.
So for the third time of asking, we have a scrum.
Bind. Set.
Sean Kennedy, the little tap, and down it goes again. Surely that's going to be a penalty to somebody. And it's a penalty against Murphy. And Edinburgh are congratulating John Andrus. Why you would be congratulated for collapsing a scrum, I've no idea, but a penalty has gone against Ulster.
Well, I have to say, Jim, I'm not a scrum expert, but to me, just looking at that, in terms of the body shape on the back, having a nice straight back, it looked to me like Murphy was a little bit bent over there, and his momentum was always potentially going to take him down.
I think his feet were quite far back, and therefore when a bit of pressure came on, he had no option but to go to ground, and that was construed as a penalty.
2, 6.
Almost 7 minutes gone, still no score. Ross Ford Capped 77 times for Scotland. Andres Strauss trying to take it up to Ulster's 10-metre line. Kennedy gets it away, not a great pass at all.
Release!
Quicker ball by Edinburgh. Showed some good touches a week ago, coming back from quite a deficit against the Scarlets. That look forward. Referee's playing advantage to Ulster. Marshall.
Advantage over!
Is that going to drift into touch? It has drifted into touch.
Well, again, it's maximising a position you just got yourselves into and not making mistakes. It was very, very good press defence, and that's what Ulster pride themselves on. You get good organisation, don't commit too many players to the ruck. You can see the communication, you can hear it from up here, fanning out nice and early, up putting pressure on the Edinburgh attack, forcing them into an error, and then that's whenever you have to start to capitalise and not give away the ball straight away.
Just a little miscue by Paul Marshall. There's not much in the way of wind here this evening at Ravenhill. Sparky, the Ulster mascot, doing the honours and doing the rounds. Capped 3 times for Ireland, Paul Marshall, first as replacement against Italy in the last game of the 2013 Six Nations. Edinburgh on halfway. This is Ross Ford. Little sneaky one to the front. Good grappling by Ulster, trying to force the opposition toward the touchline. This time it's Sean Kennedy with a kick down the line. And he's been no more successful. Clever work by Andrew Trimble. As he caught the ball, he had 1 foot in touch, which means that the ball itself was in touch. So they've got to go back for the line out to Ulster.
Yeah, good work by Andrew Trimble, but all the hard work was done up front there. Very, very solid line-out defence. You can see Franco van der Merwe in particular working very, very hard to hold on to the player, caught the ball, make sure that they can't get the ball moved back to their back pod easily, and then the pressure came on from behind.
O'Connor wins it again. Good pass by Marshall. Jackson. This is McCluskey. Trimble comes round to the other wing. Little chip through for Tommy Bowe. Very nearly worked. Well, that's a hugely encouraging sign, and 2 of the best wing three-quarters in the business working well. Louis Ludick takes the quick throw. Good appreciation by Ulster what the situation was involving. And have they lost it at the breakdown? I think they have, you know. They may just have regained it. Good work by McCluskey, who is a big lump. Marshall finding it hard to get it out. Vian Herbst.
Away!
Jared Payne drives forward into Anton Bresler, the South African who was touted as being a possible Ulster player about a year or so ago.
Away, Black!
Van der Merwe takes it on. Marshall, change of mind. Rory Murphy. Marshall. Good pass. Jackson. Beautiful. McCluskey, clever little chip. Crowd boo, but nothing wrong with that. Much more adventurous now from Ulster.
Yeah, well, immediately you can see the danger that Ulster possess in the three-quarters channel.
Yeah.
Good movement within the back line, shifting the ball away from the ruck as quickly as possible. Paddy Jackson weighing up the options. That one possibly is one to keep in hand, but they almost lost it a couple of phases earlier, and what was good was to see big Alan O'Connor came in and smashed one of the Edinburgh players out of the ruck, created that ball on a platform for Paul Marshall to shift away.
I thought he was Stuart McCluskey.
Okay.
There's not much difference between the two of them. Alan O'Connor, his first start, he got his first game as a youngster against Leinster a couple of seasons ago. That's back on the Ulster side, well stolen. And there is O'Connor taking it on for the home side. Marshall, Roger Wilson did well to get past the first tackle. Good chances so they can shift it now. Jared Payne. Ludick was nearly through. On a dry night, that might have been a try.
Yeah, right idea. Good movement again. Good solid start. Roger Wilson did very, very well. Got a nice soft shoulder. A little bit of footwork there, just took him on the outside. That creates a good quick ball for Paul Marshall to shift away. And we've got people cutting good lines. And you have to say, pretty good defence from Edinburgh as well.
Well, any Alan Solomon's coach side will spend a lot of time defending. You know that yourself, Bryn.
Yeah, well, already you can see Alan Solomon's strategies all over this side, and he will be very, very disappointed at that hammering they took by the Ospreys. That would have hurt badly, and I think since that weekend they've done a lot of work on making sure their defence is a lot more solid.
So Murphy under a little bit of pressure again. Andrew Warwick is the replacement loose head prop, but he won't be required to take his place on the park for a while yet, I'm sure. That's how close they are, but it's an Edinburgh put in. Nearly 12 minutes gone. Also the closer to scoring.
Second.
Rory Murphy had a spell with Exeter before moving to Australia and played for the Brumbies, but he'd been in Australia for quite some time.
Set.
Penalty against John Andrus.
Inwards. Number 3. Inwards. You push inwards.
So what will they do? Paddy Jackson, I think, has said he's going to have a shot at goal. So Murphy stuck to his task well, and it was a legal scrummaging by John Andrus that produced the penalty.
Yeah, it's a little bit of tit for tat in there early, just to try and test out the referee probably and see what he's going to penalise. But I think it's the right decision from Ulster. They've had a bit of pressure here and try and come away with a few points.
Andrus coming in, just dipping in to his left and forcing Murphy to go inside. That looks pretty good. Nicely struck by Ulster's outside half, Paddy Jackson. He's over 13 minutes gone. First points of the evening. Ulster 3, Edinburgh 0. Perfect. Now can Ulster make a better fist of receiving the restart? Yes, they can. Taken in by Roger Wilson.
Release.
A horse of a man. Jackson. Chris Henry. Thought he saw a bit of a gap there. Roddy Grant closed it down. Was that opposite number? Marshall. That's not a bad kick for Ulsterman to chase. Greg Tonks swamped by Jared Payne. Plenty of black shirts coming back. Ulster have stolen that. Good work by Dyack. Well, it's all a bit scrappy, but Ulster still in possession. McCluskey giving that one away, and Ulster knock it forward. Well, it's a comedy of errors down there.
Knock on white.
Yeah, not a pretty passage of play, but you can see what Ulster were trying to do. It was good pressure, a very good box kick by Paul Marshall. They were able to get up, force Edinburgh in behind the gain line. And again, I got to give credit to Edinburgh there. Their scramble in tight was the right thing. They pressed the ball carrier very, very quickly to force them inside, so they couldn't get the pass away because they knew that the outside was definitely on, that there was space in the outside channels.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, just playing hot potato there a little bit with Ulster. Ball all over the place, and people are popping it back and hoping somebody's going to pick it up. But that's all resulted in a scrum to Ulster. There's Stuart McCluskey playing his second consecutive game and winning just his 6th senior cap in total. Good scrum by Ulster on the Edinburgh put-in. Kennedy, Tim Visser. On the heels of Tommy Bowe in terms of the top try scorer in this competition. 53 to Tommy Bowe's 56. Kennedy again. Dupree, another of the South Africans in this Edinburgh side. Look at the match day squad today, the 23. Only 5 are actually born in Scotland. Ross Ford, who definitely was. Burley puts it right up into the atmosphere. Knocked back on the Edinburgh side. The man just came in between Louis Ludick and the ball. Kennedy gets it away. Gilchrist. His cousin, Greg Tonks. Oh, nice little slip pass. This could be dangerous. This is the danger man. And he always makes ground, Tim Visser, and invariably scores. So Edinburgh very much on the front foot. This is Rory Sutherland. The new loose head prop has made a decent bit of ground. Referee's having a good look. Have Ulster managed to turn that one over? I think they have, you know. Somebody's done a great bit of work on the ground. Well, Marshall maybe needed a fine touch. Referee's blown the whistle. Now, was there a tackle on a man who was off the ground? Greg Tonks, I think, did have the ball. He's going to have a word with his assistant on the far side. Well, Paddy Jackson checked. There was nothing Paddy Jackson could do about that. There was no intent. Paddy Jackson stopped. But they're very strict about these things these days.
Captain.
What is Claudio Glissano going to do?
Where's the captain? Where's the captain?
Rory Best is going to be called
Captain.
over.
Okay. Just this penalty here. Yeah. Okay. He's a tackle in the flight.
Yeah, he tried to pull out of it.
Yes, not deliberate. Okay.
Now that's good refereeing.
Yeah,
Great picture of Paddy Jackson, but there was no malice there, no intent. David Irwin's having a little look at him because he got a bad bang in the head last week. Paddy Jackson, as well as getting a few staples put in a head wound. That looks like a wee bit of a bicep problem. Well, it's been an interesting game so far. Greg Tonks did well. That's forward pass. That actually was delivered from one side of the 10-metre line and was caught on the other side.
Well, no doubt it was marginal, but it was very, very good play. You can see Edinburgh, again, very direct. There's nothing subtle about Tim Visser off the scrum. Literally took the ball, straight line, straight at Paddy Jackson, who tackles anything that moves. But a great bit of work on the ground from Rory Best to steal the ball when Edinburgh were in a very, very good position after that break down the touchline. Just good to see Paddy Jackson back in play. And as you said, Jim, I think that was good refereeing. Just a little bit clumsy. A penalty was probably right, but certainly no more than that.
Yeah, Rory Best said to him, well done. Ulster have not had a lot of luck with refereeing decisions in the last few games, the end of last season and the start of this season. Phil Burley is the man who's going to try to level things up. In fact, it's Jack Cuthbert, do beg your pardon. About 3 times the size of Burley. Now, can he kick like Burley? He's clipped that and he hasn't brought it in enough. And it stays at Ulster 3 and Edinburgh 0.
I think Ulster should be relatively happy with how it's going so far. They can see exactly the style of play that Edinburgh are incorporating. They're going to take one-off runners. They're going to pump the ball in the air. They're going to look for mistakes from that ball in the air, try to counter and trying to put pressure on the catcher. And here we go again, Burley up in the air to do exactly that.
It's a huge kick. Beautifully taken, though, by Louis Ludick. Wastes no time. Can't kick it directly into touch. Well, he can, but that would be an Edinburgh throw. This is Burley again. Someone needs to call for Tommy Bowe. Wonderfully done. Greg Tonks puts him to ground. Referee telling Edinburgh players to get out of it. Rory Murphy into Grant Gilchrist. Back to Jackson. He's curled that infield where it's gathered by Burley.
Back.
And another monster. That was spilled backward, methinks. And the referee thinks so as well, more importantly. Marshall. Payne. That went backward as well. No, it didn't. Ulster riding their luck just a little bit too much. Should they be playing that sort of rugby inside the 22, Bryn, at this stage of the game?
Well, it shows a degree of confidence that they have, that they know that they can attack from anywhere. They have the players who can cut hold. I think what we saw there was just the timing, just slightly wrong. In between, does Tommy come a little fraction earlier? Does Jared miss him out and throw it out to the wing? It was just one of those ones, they just got their timing slightly off, and if they'd got it right, they would have got a soft shoulder, they would have been through. There'd been people flooding through for offloads. But Edinburgh and Alan Solomons, again, will be happy. They're getting a bit of change out of that high ball. Ulster have now probably fumbled 2 or 3 balls, and Edinburgh will continue to pump that ball in the air, and they'll look to try and get something out of it.
What a sight of packed ground here at Ravenhill really is. Jared Perry, remember, has missed the last 3 games because of a slight hip injury.
Set.
Well, the scrum on this side is going down yet again, and they have to sort out what's going on between Murphy and Andress.
Yeah? Okay.
coming up at the
guys.
end of the first quarter. Also be reasonably
Remove
happy about
1
the
meter.
score, but one or two little errors could have been eradicated, I'm pretty sure.
To the left.
Les Kiss in the middle, to his left Johnny Bell, to his right Neil Doak, whom we are expecting to be announced in the not too distant future as Ulster head coach.
Crouch.
Let's see what's going on in these scrums. There's the bind, which is fine. There's nothing much wrong with that. Good squeeze by Ulster. Kennedy. In comes Cuthbert, who is enormous off that wing like a steam train.
Away.
Edinburgh still rolling forward. Gilchrist.
Away.
Good
6.
tackle by Robbie Dyack. Back on the Ulster side, having missed out last week. Andrus again. Kennedy, ooh, almost a gap there, but nicely closed down by Alan O'Connor, who's really put himself about this evening, the youngster. Now was Andrus Strauss had to go into scrum half for Edinburgh. Now they're going to try to stretch this. Clever little chip. Tommy Bowe's going to have to be quick, but too much on the kick from Phil Burley, and it's a 22 drop out to Ulster.
Yeah, again, good press defence from Ulster, forcing Edinburgh into the kick. They probably don't really want to do that in around the 22. They want to try and keep a ball in hand and try and force Ulster into a mistake and get over the try line, because they're putting their big boys, one-off runners again, getting the wingers involved, which you would do whenever they're both sort of 6'3", 6'4" boys who are very, very strong runners.
Burley for the up and under. That's going to come down inside the 22. So it's kick the touchable from Paddy Jackson. That's a good kick by Jackson. Well covered once again by Burley. This is Greg Tonks, capped once by Scotland. Well gathered by Bowe. Jackson with men outside him. Again going for position. What a tactical game this is between the two number 10s. And Burley does it again. It's a case of who can get the ball higher. Tommy Bowe. Up to the 10-metre line. Well, Edinburgh very nearly turned that one over. Marshall nicely released to Andrew Trimble. Great strength by the wing three-quarter. Marshall, Vian Herbst. Crowd getting behind this Ulster side. Now Jackson. Dyack has a go himself. Good run by the Irish international. Louis Ludican support. Jackson called it nicely. Looking lively with ball in hand, Paddy Jackson. That's a good pass by Van der Merwe. Bowe, who's been starved of action for the last few games. Not getting away at the breakdown. Ulster deserved that. Second row forward, Anton Bresler gives away the penalty.
Yeah, good passage of play from Ulster. Looking to get Tommy Bowe involved as much as possible. Big, strong boy. Always gets over the gain line. Try and speed up the play. The important thing for Ulster is to make sure that they get to the ball carrier nice and quick. Just on a couple of occasions there, the likes of Roddy Grant, who's very, very quick over the ball, has just got his hands in there and caused a few issues for them. That just slows the ball up a fraction.
Nice little miss move, and Tommy Bowe very strong. Bresler was on the ground and didn't let go of him, or didn't get away from him. Wasn't making any effort at all, and though he wasn't touching the ball, he was impeding Paul Marshall in terms of getting possession. Well, there's a man who enjoyed several very productive seasons here at Ulster, and certainly introduced a whole new training and fitness regime which has stood Ulster in good stead ever since. So Ulster Rugby was that man in the middle, little fellow with the specs quite a bit. Jackson, don't think that's going to make it. No, he's pushed that one wide, so it stays at 3-0. 25 minutes almost gone. So it's 1 out of 2 for Paddy Jackson. He'll not be too happy with that one. Well, who would have believed that 15,000 people would come to see Ulster play Edinburgh? Place looks fantastic. Jackson leaves it for Marshall. That could go anywhere, and it has done, but it's well picked up by McCluskey, and the big fella's got away. Lovely pass to Trimble. Trimble strikes the legs. Visser's going to get him. Trimble's strong enough. Oh, he hands off Visser as if he was swatting a blue bottle. And Andrew Trimble has scored a corking try, which gets Ravenhill on its feet. His 41st league try, and one of the best he's scored.
Well, that is definitely what Ulster needed, just to liven this game up. And I have to say, I'm continually being impressed by McCluskey in the centre. He is one big, strong boy. He sees a gap there, great handoff, lovely little offload. Trimble in support as always, as a good winger should be, and a super fend as well. Two big, strong, hard-running boys, just showing that how the game has moved on over the last few years. Again, you see McCluskey, the strength and power, and a lovely deft little offload. Trimble, again, lovely transfer from the right hand to the left hand. Knew that's where the defender was, where he needed a hand off. Excellent finish.
Well, I think Alan Solomon would have expected Tim Visser to make that tackle. He didn't make that tackle, but the whole thing was set up by McCluskey, and in the meantime Paddy Jackson, having missed with a second penalty attempt, has landed the conversion, and Ulster move into double figures, and they lead Edinburgh after 26 minutes by 10 points to 0, and that really has brought, no pun intended, a spark here to Ravenhill. Somebody needs to call for that, and it's McCluskey. What a kick as well. Taken quickly by Edinburgh. This is Greg Tonks.
Back.
And they're employing this up and under rather a lot, Edinburgh.
Away, yeah.
Good tackle by Dupreer on Paddy Jackson. Ulster's outside half is Robbie Dyack. A bit more confidence now in Ulster. Good call by Louis Ludick. Always seems to glide past the first tackle. Rory Best does a fine job of clearing out. Marshall, much better kick this time. Tonks gathers. Tries to get outside Roger Wilson, who holds him down. Quicker ball. I think that touched an Ulster player.
Touch the ball.
Yeah, and that means it's going to be a line out to Edinburgh, because it came off an Ulster hand and went into touch.
Okay, problem.
Sean Kennedy, in his third season with Edinburgh, playing only his 18th league game.
Well, again, you can see Edinburgh continually pumping that ball high in the air, but what Alan Solomon was saying to him at half-time is try and bring that back 5 or 10 yards. Make sure your on-running players can actually challenge for that ball, because unless you do that, Ulster are going to gain more confidence with that try. They're going to attack from deep, and with the ability and the pace that they have in the back line, they'll cause Edinburgh problems in the counter-attack.
Well, Paddy Jackson looks as if he may be leaving the field. I can see Stuart Olding warming up.
Get them to come up. Both sides of the problem. Okay.
So talk to them.
Yeah.
And get them both up.
Yeah.
Little
Okay.
chat
Tuesday. Okay.
about
Up.
the scrummaging. David Irwin having a word with Paddy Jackson. Is there anything wrong? He should go off. No Ian Humphreys on the bench, remember, and Stuart Olding, who can play 12 or 10, but mostly 12, is coming on. Well, that's a wee bit on the sad side now. Paddy Jackson has gone off, having notched up 5 points. And Stuart Olding coming on for a rare appearance in the outside half position.
Yeah, it's possible that might be partly precautionary. He's taken a knock and it's not serious. They just want to make sure they get it right.
In the meantime, Edinburgh win it. Good work by the skipper, Mike Coleman. Burley, Greg Tonks with Cuthbert out wide. Pounced on and seized by Jared Payne. Quick release by Edinburgh. Ross Ford into Rory Best. 77 caps for Scotland and 77 caps for Ireland respectively in the middle of the front row. Strauss finds no way through Ulster's defence, which is stretched right across the pitch. Good work on the narrow side by Edinburgh. Down and up again. Gilchrist. Ross Ford had to check. Tackled by Van der Merwe. Also thought they may have just pinched that one. Looked like Roddy Grant with his head bandaged. Nicely set up by the flank forward. Burley popped through to Cuthbert. Well read by McCluskey.
Use it!
Edinburgh told to use it. taken on by Anton Bresler. Andrus grappling away in there, and Rory Best in the middle of all that, and also won the penalty, holding on to the tackle by Bresler, and great work on the ground by Rory Best.
Well, I was going to say about 3 plays or phases before that, Chris Henry will feel a little bit aggrieved. He got his hands on that ball, could have very easily been a penalty to Ulster. A couple of phases later, Rory Best does what he does best. He is just outstanding. That's a second brilliant turnover that he's made. He is an extra back row out there. He gets himself into outstanding body position. People can't move him, and yet again he earns another penalty for Ulster.
Wonderful grappling work on the ground by Ulster's captain. Just about 10 minutes of this first half remaining. Knocked back but well away by Van der Merwe. Chris Henry has a pop himself into Roddy Grant. Paul Marshall, nicely called by Tommy Bowe. Broke the first tackle. Andrus is loitering. Rory Murphy, a bit upright, but he's made the ball available. Now Olding. Didn't maybe just get enough in that. Cuthbert. And Tonks with lots of time. Was he outside the 22? I think Ulster thought he was. I wouldn't mind another look at that. I think he was outside the 22 when he kicked it.
Oh, I would agree, Jim. It certainly looked like it.
Cuthbert got it back to Tonks. Now, where did he actually kick the ball? No, he was all right.
He's okay.
Apologies, Mr. Tonks.
We're all wrong.
Quite a bit of damp on that ball. Roger Wilson has moved to 2 in Ulster's lineout. Not so straight, but nicely won by Van der Merwe. Did really well. Here's Bowe. Gilchrist with the tackle. Marshall. Wilson. Great strength. Marshall again. Rory Best. Well presented. Marshall. McCluskey takes on 1, 2, 3 Edinburgh players, but it's a maul, and it's going to be an Edinburgh scrummage, and that's good defence by Edinburgh, and particularly by Roddy Grant, the flanker.
Yeah, McCluskey has done very, very well so far. He's looked very dangerous and very strong ball in hand, but just occasionally you go into 2 or 3 men and it's difficult to get the deck. You could hear the Edinburgh players very early shouting, hold him up, hold him up. The referee signifying it was a maul, and right decision.
Connacht training at home to Cardiff, and there's an interesting latest scoreline. Zebra 8 and the high-flying Ospreys 3. So Connacht trailing and the Ospreys trailing, which is something of a surprise. Long way to go, mind you, both those games.
It shows you, Jim, what a win last week does for the confidence from Zebra's point of view.
Yeah, you can see the reaction in their faces a week ago in very sunny Parma. 8 minutes remaining. 10-0 to an Ulster side who may well be looking for more before the interval. Well, watch this, a great bit of work by Stuart McCluskey. Scooped it up, handed off one man, realised that Andrew Trimble was there, and Trimble had a lot to do. He got away from Burley, and Tim Visser's defensive frailties were exposed there by Andrew Trimble. Nick Williams in danger of doing more damage to Andrew Trimble than Tim Visser. Oh, what a season Andrew Trimble has had. Or a calendar year, I should say.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Messy scrum again.
Up.
Rory Murphy is bewildered at what's going on.
Okay. Come on.
The referee's maybe just had a little word with the Edinburgh front row.
Simstrom. Second. Crouch. Bind. Set.
Kennedy told to get it in. Better scrum by Edinburgh. Ulster try to counter drive. Edinburgh holding it in the back row. Kennedy well blocked by Chris Henry. Burley has to kick. One man should take that. Well left for Ludick. The old rule is the man coming forward should always be allowed to take it. Not a good kick by Ludick. Here's Greg Tonks. Tommy Bowe quite happy to let that roll into touch for an Ulster line-out.
Yes.
Just about 6.5 minutes remaining. Will Ulster be happy enough with a scoreline of 10-0, Bryn?
I think they will. They haven't actually ventured into the Edinburgh 22 very often, to be perfectly
22
honest. So,
white.
as we see,
22 white.
Paddy
22.
Jackson looks potentially like he's ready to come back on the pitch.
Well, that's very interesting. I didn't see any blood at all, or any sign of those stitches having opened up. He obviously went on to get some treatment, which is fine. Must have been a blood reversal.
Five.
But I didn't see any blood at all.
Don't close the gap.
David Irwin and the Ulster manager David Miller there. Best. Great take by O'Connor, who, like McCluskey, has had a very good game. Marshall wants his forwards to shunt a little bit. Oh, he's given that a fair old clip. Now that's a good kick by Paul Marshall. And what a good take though by Greg Tonks. Kennedy looking for runners on the near side. Big Rory Sutherland, who's an enormous lump of a fellow, was there. But there was a wee nudge forward, and that gives Ulster possession.
Well, you can see the referee starting to get a little bit annoyed at Edinburgh. They're slowing up the possession at the back of the ruck. He's consistently telling Kennedy to use it, and Kennedy's taking a couple of seconds too long, and he'll start penalising them, as well as obviously if they make mistakes. It's not going to help Edinburgh's case either, because all that slow possession allows Ulster to do is just fan out, get a good line and come up solidly in defence.
Well taken by Greg Tonks, and well done by the Ulster chasers, who allowed him to catch it and then get his feet in the ground before they made the tackle.
Bind. Set. Steady. Steady.
Robbie Dyack, Ulster's number 6 now, fully fledged Irish international. Likewise Roger Wilson. That mightn't work out too badly. Marshall, that's a clever little kick, and it's gone into touch, and it's going to be an Edinburgh throw, but they're back inside the 22, and Ulster will look to put pressure on this line-out.
Yeah, it's very, very smart play by Marshall. Per ball at the base of scrum, knew there was no point shifting on that to his outside half, which would only have compounded things. So very intelligent bit of play, and nice kick, nice execution.
I wonder what tune that is they're playing. It has a kind of a familiar ring to it. Ross Ford, now 30 years of age, the only member of this Edinburgh side born in the capital. Well tidied up by Edinburgh, and Kennedy finds his touch. Still time for Ulster to launch an attack here. Relishing being back in charge of this Ulster side. 4 seasons, Johan Muller did a fantastic job. Best involved non-stop with Ireland, of course. Bit of a tap, well gathered in by Marshall. McCluskey asking a lot of the young man this evening. Marshall again. Paddy Jackson. Jared Payne. Very nearly got through. Good Edinburgh defence. Marshall needs a runner. Gets it in the form of the Springbok. Van der Merwe released it quickly. Jackson. McCluskey with Rory Best outside him. Has a go. Thought about the out of the back of the hand pass, but sensibly held on. Marshall. The very chunky Vian Herbst. Ludick. Trimble. With Payne outside him. Trimble has a go himself and very nearly burst that first line of defence. Marshall. Well presented. Chris Henry at scrum half. Tommy Bowe in there. What a good ripping job Tommy Bowe has done. Rory Best climbing all over that to make it secure. Roger Wilson. Good tackle by Bressler. All the pressure now coming from Ulster. Chris Henry into the 22 and a bit. Best again. Couple of minutes remaining. Is there time for Ulster? Here comes Jackson. Little flat pass to Payne. Wilson in quickly. They need a scrum half. Now they've got one. Taken on by O'Connor. Marshall. Dyack. Edinburgh really putting everything into their defence now. Marshall. Jackson. McCluskey. Good tackle by Strauss. All the pressure coming from the men in white. Here's Chris Henry. O'Connor in concert.
Advantage.
Ulster have got the penalty, so they should get something out of this. Marshall with the chip. Ball's gone loose. Dotted down. They'll come back for the penalty. I think Marshall must have known the penalty was coming, otherwise he probably wouldn't have done that.
I certainly like to hope so. No, he definitely saw the referee signalling the penalty. A great passage of play. That's the best passage of play we've seen from them all night. They went through a number of phases there. What I liked about it was they were picking the right option every single time. They knew they didn't have numbers out wide, that they had to commit a few extra bodies to the ruck, so they picked and went, just trying to soften the Edinburgh defence, and that's what forced Roddy Grant just to lie over the ball. He knew that it was coming, that Ulster were just gradually gaining a bit more momentum.
Well, Marshall has had one of those sort of curious eggs games. It's been good in parts. It's been more good than bad, I have to say. He's made some very clever little decisions and a wee fumble or two along the way. But all in all, he'd be pretty happy with that first 40 minutes.
Shot on the head.
No, I think he will, and I think the outside backs as well will be very happy with the amount of ball that they're getting, and also some of the change that they're getting. McCluskey in particular, and Trimble and Bowe, Payne, Luddick, I mean all of them, every one of them running hard lines, forcing the Edinburgh defenders to make tough tackles.
Connacht have come back at home to level matters up against Cardiff. It's 10 apiece at the sports ground, and in Parma it's 8-6 in favour of Zebra. This is Grant Gilchrist, who is coming in just for his first game of the season. Captain Scotland on the tour to Argentina last summer, but he looks like he's got himself injured. I think they're going to make a replacement straight away.
Can we play? Okay.
Greg Tonks has gone off. And Nick McLennan has come on. Nick McLennan seems to have come on, but he's normally an outside back. That's a very interesting thing. Maybe it's just a blood injury for the time being. In the meantime, Paddy Jackson to stretch Ulster's lead right on half-time. It has to come in, and it has come in. Nicely judged indeed by Paddy Jackson, and Ulster move out to a 13-0 lead.
Well, Paddy Jackson will be very happy with that. I think that second kick that he just didn't get quite right was maybe in the back of the knock that he had taken before. He just looked a little bit uneasy, a little bit uncomfortable kicking the last one. That was back to his best there, and seen a big improvement. Paddy Jackson's kicking over the last year, and that's down to Neil Doak and his work with Dave Allred as well.
Yes, Ollie Atkins wearing number 19 is on, so it looks like Edinburgh have made a couple of replacements, and that's gone straight into touch. And also we'll look back on a job reasonably well done the first half. A couple of penalties by Paddy Jackson, who converted an Andrew Trimble try. I think Les Kiss will be reasonably happy.
I think he will. I think one of the things he'll be happiest about is Edinburgh are being fairly predictable at this stage. We know what they're going to do. They're going to pick and go. They're going to take one-off runners, and they're going to pump that ball high in the air. All Ulster have got to do is keep their discipline. They know that they're going to turn the ball over time and time again. They're going to receive the ball from deep, and they'll back themselves to counter, go through the phases, and hopefully score a few tries once the Edinburgh defenders start to tire.
Well, they've got one try, which is of the very, very highest quality, courtesy of Andrew Trimble, after a fine, strong break by the young centre Stuart McCluskey. Otherwise, all the points have come from the boot of Paddy Jackson. So a Trimble try, a Jackson conversion, and 2 penalty goals from Paddy Jackson. And Ulster leading at the interval by 13 points to 0.
Well, Maurice Field and Andy Nicol have been watching an effective first half by Ulster, but not really that entertaining, Andy, to be fair.
It's not been a great game, and I think what we've seen is Edinburgh side low in confidence, but are just trying to be solid in defence. But in attack, we've seen nothing. They've not had any cutting edge. It's been, as Bryn Cunningham just said, a one-off hit, pick and goes. So there's been no inspiration from Edinburgh, but they've tried to be really solid in defence. And the last passage of play, in many ways encapsulated that.
Edinburgh predictable, Ulster efficient enough without doing really anything dynamic. Maurice.
I think we knew that Edinburgh were going to come here when Alan Sullins expects honest endeavour from his team, and that's what you've got from Edinburgh at the present moment. As I said, very solid, very predictable, same way type of rugby, and the Ulster defence has been good, and their discipline's been good not to give away penalties. They could have quite easily put hands into it, but they've trusted their defensive systems, and they've asked the question about it and come at us, but as Andy said, there's no creativity out there. The only weapon they seem to have is using Tim Visser off the 10 channel, run at the smaller men within the Ulster setup.
Ulster's kicking wasn't wonderful in the first half, but it was actually off one of those poor kicks that they got their try.
And sometimes that happens. I mean, there was a lot of bad kicking in the first half, there's no doubt about that. And a bad kick can be made a good kick by a good kick chase. There was some really poor kick chase as well, and from both sides. There's a lot of that aerial ping pong, and undoubtedly Ulster won that battle. Greg Tonks probably touched the ball most in an Edinburgh shirt here, including Sean Kennedy at 9, because he was fielding the high ball that was there all the time.
Andrew Trimble took his try though very well, didn't he?
Very exceptionally well. I mean, Andrew Trimble is probably one of the guys with the most endeavour. You can see here he's following the ball, keeping his eyes on the ball all the time. Again, bit of a messy play, great work here by Stuart McCuskey, but Andrew Trimble as a winger, great support play, great offload. Very disappointed in Tim Visser's defence here. As a child, you're told always go low, but Tim Visser trying to go up high there against Andy Trimble, just very poor technique.
I've been really impressed with McCloskey, but Maurice is absolutely right. Visser had the angle and he had the pace. And you see it from this angle in particular. It's a great break. I've really been impressed with this guy, by the way. But look, Visser's coming in, just chop him down. Go for the legs, chop him down. Trimble would never be able to get the hand off in play if he went low. Yeah.
And on that, Andy, you can see as well, great skills from Andy Trimble. Knowing the tackle's coming in, he's moved the ball away from the contact area to protect the ball and use the fend off.
I really like the look of McCloskey. First time I've seen him, he looks like a real quality.
I mean, Ulster fans haven't seen a lot of him, to be fair, either. He's broke through into the team last season, good match last week, and he's been excellent tonight, Maurice.
Look at the size of him. This is, I mean, for me, what I like about him though, he's looking to offload. He's not just pushing it up, and he's got good catch-pass skills. I like that. I like the look of him.
Yeah, I think as an inside centre, also got so many choices inside centre. You've got the likes of Stewart there, very big strapping lad, 6'3", 6'4", about 17 stone. I mean, that's like Stevie Ferris playing in the centre against you. But you've got that mix between him and Stuart Olling. But he gives a focal point, and again, he's looking for the offloads. I think the Ulster players are realising if he's going to take on these 2 or 3 defenders, there's going to be gaps either side of the tackle.
When you're that size and you're putting footwork and trying to offload, you've got the whole package there. So we've seen so many players in the professional game of that size who just run straight. He looks like he's got something to him. Really, really impressed.
Jared Payne, I introduced at the start of the programme as a New Zealander and a possible future Irish international. From what you've seen of him tonight, does he look like the man who's going to replace Brian O'Driscoll in that 13 shirt for Ireland?
In short, no. I think it's too early. I think who wants to follow Brian O'Driscoll? That's a hard job, but yeah, I don't think he will, Maurice.
No, go on.
But I think Jared Payne is an outstanding fullback, as he's proven for the last few years. And on the evidence of this so far, we're not seeing an international class centre. Has he got the skills? Yes. He's fired a few passes out, which in the centre you've got to have that subtlety to know if he's 5 yards away to do 5 yards or 2 yards or 20 yards. He didn't seem to have that.
I've already named McCullers to this. I think he's an exceptional 15. He's been one of the best 15s in Europe. To me, he just doesn't have the guile, the running style, or the dog in him to play as an outside centre. You have to have that. I mean, Brandon Driscoll is the epitome of where you want to be. Jared Payne hits better running lines from open space coming from deep at 15 because he can see where the gaps are. What he's doing, he's being forced at 13 to through lines, and you can see by the way he's forcing passes, he's playing that as a 15, and it's going to take him a long period of time to adjust to those 13 running lines.
What have you made of Paddy Jackson's eventful first half?
Well, I mean, he's been one of the reasons that the kicking wasn't great. You know, he's some poor tackling there. You can see that's where he picked up his first injury, and he went off in the shoulder. But you know, he's controlled it. He's got a good. You know, he fell into that. There was no malice there, and sensible, common sense prevailed. But you know, some of his kicking's been good, but I'd say on average it's been a bit aimless, and it's just he's not found the space.
Yeah, I think Andy as well. We've seen here perfect under no pressure, fumbled, but that all came even before the first tackle where he hurt his arm. Tim Visser came down that 10 channel and ran over the top of Paddy, and I thought, because we could see it off camera, he went out onto the wing. He was taking a good few minutes to get himself together. He could have been slightly dazed, and that has a knock-on effect. It's taken him a good 20 minutes to get his composure back.
Well, Ulster's kicking game via Paul Marshall has been on the poor side. Done a lot of good things, but the kicking part of the game's been poor.
Both nines have actually struggled with the box kicking, going out in the full. You see that that's just you've got to put that infield. You've got to keep it in, and you know these guys, you know Kennedy for Edinburgh and Marshall, they practice this all day long, and they need to put them on the button. You know, for a nine, when you're box kicking for nine, you've got to give them enough space to allow people to go. He goes up a blind alley. This was okay actually, kept in field. And that was off nothing, he did well. But the box kick, you've got to give it enough height for the support to get underneath it. And both his nines tonight have really been pretty poor in the first half.
Got at half time, Ulster looking very comfortable, to be fair.
13-0, they've absorbed what Edinburgh are going to take now. Ulster will play so much better if they get the quick ball going forward. But I mean, you just have to look at Coleman and Dupree and Roddy Grant. I mean, they're good at slowing the ball down. Ulster need to get a quicker ball at the breakdown. If they get quicker ball, and they're going to use the likes of McCluskey and even Trimble and Tommy Woe coming off the blind side, that 10 channel, quick ball, I think Ulster could open up.
It's only Ulster's ill discipline will allow Edinburgh to come back in this game, because I just can't see a try coming from Edinburgh currently the way they're playing. And so if Ulster just screw them up and really be a disciplined second half, then they've got this game quite easily. And so I think there's only one winner.
Okay, we'll talk more in a moment. Of course, we were mentioning Brian O'Driscoll, and part of this brand new stadium here at Ulster is a Legends Wall. And the former Irish number 13 was the very first man to sign it. Here he is, putting his signature on it a few months ago as he played his last game in Belfast. Nice feature at the new Kingspan Stadium, where we can now join Gavin Andrews.
Well, it's written on the wall here where legends are made. A final reminder for the players as they head out onto the pitch. There's Brian O'Driscoll's autograph on the away team legends. The home legends, 5 names. Paddy Wallace, the only one I can read. As you walk down the tunnel, some inspirational quotes, photographs of the past. 2006 Celtic League win. To my right, the home team dressing room. Plenty of chat going on in there. It's circular. It's pretty unique in there. Away dressing room, Edinburgh on the way out. Alan Solomon's rather maybe not shouting at anyone. And if the players needed any more inspiration, just look at this. Some of the greats of the past, Willie John, Mike Gibson, the Doc Irwin, who still works here. He's probably in the medical room, being quite busy. And of course David Humphreys. And blocking some of the current legends, well, a legend in his own right, Dan too. Dan, I'll shake you gingerly. How is the arm?
Yeah, the arm's coming on good. I had surgery 10 days ago, and the arm's been progressing nicely. A little bit more complicated than the first injury, but yeah, it's taken over nicely.
Bit too much time in the medical room, but this whole facility, what's this done for the team?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I mean, to sort of bring our training base here, it puts a big more spin on sort of the whole Fortress Kingspan. Training at New Forge and coming here, a little bit of detachment, so we're here permanently now, and it means an awful lot to the players.
We're in the midst of a little bit of a second row crisis. You out, Ian Henderson out. What do you make of what Alan O'Connor's done the first half?
Yeah, I mean, Alan's an abrasive player. He's been in the academy, training with us for a number of years now, and he fully deserves his chance. I think he's been good in the line-out today, and making a few hits around the park, and I think someone's got to step up and take the jersey, and I think all the best to him.
Big onus on Franco van der Merwe over the next few weeks. What's he brought?
Yeah, Franco's an enormously experienced player. I mean, he's playing a heap of games in the Super Rugby, and I think his experience has been invaluable. I mean, he's obviously got big shoes to fill, but I think he's just brought a good amount of leadership to the team and to the line-out. And on top of that, he's a good bloke and he works hard, so that's exactly what we needed.
Zebra, a little bit of a blip last week. Can also go on and win this today?
It was a little bit of a blip last week. The boys were disappointed with the performance, but I think Edinburgh aren't really offering a great deal today. They're playing a lot of 9 and then kicking the hell out of the ball. So I think if we just keep the ball, go through our phases, it should be well within us to win this game.
Okay, Dan, thanks for your time. One final look down the tunnel. It's starting to get busy. substitutes rather, getting ready to go back out and ready for the team, Steve.
Well, a lack of second rows in the Ulster squad at the moment. It is a problematic area for them, Morris, isn't it? But Alan O'Connor's done pretty well tonight.
I think Alan O'Connor's been probably one of the standout forwards in the first half anyway. Very abrasive young player. I've watched him a few times at Malone, and he's sort of brought that aggression, from through the academy when he plays on the club side. He takes his opportunity. Dan being out with a broken arm, obviously he's afforded him the opportunity, and the young man working alongside the Murphy's going to learn an awful lot about playing at this level, and it'll only do well for his own development.
Andy, can you see Edinburgh getting back into this game second half? And if so, what do they need to do to get back into it?
Well, they need to find some cutting edge. I mean, the defence has been pretty solid, because Ulster had quite a few chances there in the 22, but the defence held solid. They're just not getting any cutting edge, Stephen. And if you're relying on just one-up hits, you're going to be up against a solid defence. And Ulster have got a real good system in place. So they're making it easy for Ulster in defence, because they're just smacking them back, and then they're getting a turnover. So they need to find a cutting edge. And as I said earlier, if Ulster keep their discipline, they control this game, because Edinburgh just they've got nothing in attack.
And Ulster will want to impress, knowing that there are even bigger games coming up in October, of course.
Well, they have to set their stall out coming up for the European Championship. So again, get the flip over from last week from Zebra and get the win under the belts here. Mightn't be pretty, but it's about getting the win and just getting the momentum going forward.
Okay, thank you, Morris. Thank you, Andy. Rory Best leads this Ulster team out for the second half. They lead by 13 points to 0. It's back to Brennan Jim.
One very definite replacement on the Ulster side. Rory Murphy has not come out for the second half. He's been replaced at loosehead prop by the fast improving Andrew Warwick. Other than that, it's as you were at the end of the first half. And remember, Edinburgh had to make a couple of replacements. Number 23, Nick McLennan, is on, and number 19, Ollie Atkins, is on as well. So Ulster with 13 points to the good, looking to kick on, as they say in racing parlance. Paddy Jackson, nice little scalp. Gathered in by the skipper, who gives it to his outside half, who hasn't found his touch. Well, taken in by Roger Wilson. Louis Luddock got a bit of a late thump there, but the referee is happy enough with it. Good tackle by Roger Wilson. Puts his man on the deck. A lot of black shirts there to tidy the whole thing up.
Wait.
Ollie Atkins, the replacement second row forward, sets it up for Edinburgh. Sean Kennedy.
Use it.
Gathered in by Bow. Luddick, change of direction.
Release Black.
Marshall, Jackson. Andrew Trimble's coming, legging it in, well up by Atkins, and Jared Payne, ever conscious of what happened toward the end of last season, lets him get to ground safely. This is Visser, taken by Trimble and Henry, who's grappling away on his feet. Roddy Grant, looking suspiciously offside. John Andrus, shaping up for the kick. That's bounced awkwardly for Edinburgh, and Paddy Jackson, under a wee bit of pressure and no room in which to move, has put it straight into touch. Notice anything different at all, Graham?
Well, I was about to say, I don't see a lot of changes to the structure or to the style of play that they're looking to incorporate. You can see from whenever Edinburgh do kick the ball that they've done a bit of work on their chasing line. They're not firing up as fast as they can, but what they do have is they have quite a straight line, encouraging Ulster to kick the ball back. So when the back three look up on receipt of the ball, they can't actually see too many options to counter-attack, and that's what Alan Solomons will want. They'll want Ulster to have to kick the ball back.
Edinburgh have also made a change in the front row. Rory Sutherland, who started his first competitive game, has gone off to be replaced by loosehead prop Alan Dell, who's another one from South Africa, brought in by Alan Solomons, and he's making his league debut. Ross Ford, fast approaching 100 league appearances, seems to be fine again.
Yes, you're marked. Yes, you're. Wait, 6.
Edinburgh's line out forward, back again. There's a skipper right at the back. That's a bit untidy, and that wasn't straight. Ulster will get the option of the line out again with their throw or the scrummage, and I'm pretty sure Rory Best will take the scrummage. Interesting to see just how Edinburgh fare with their new loose head prop up against Fian Herbst, and how Andrew Warwick gets on against John Andrus. That was by no means straight.
Ready, guys.
Second.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Stay.
Good long bind by Fian Herbst. Is the referee happy? No, he's not. He's given a penalty against the Edinburgh front row for taking it down yet again. John Andrus disagrees, needless to say, and Paddy Jackson's a chance to make some ground.
Scrum's been a bit messy so far, but Ulster will certainly take that. Andrew Warwick, hard to see what actually went on there, but Andrew Warwick's been outstanding obviously this season. He's really come through for many people from nowhere in many ways, and he's done a cracking job in there. And Ulster look now like they've got a lot of options in that front row department.
Well, tough games to come, with all due respect to Edinburgh. Glasgow in a week's time, tomorrow week in the league, and then away to the Leicester Tigers, and home to Toulon in the European Champions Cup. Marshall.
Away, Black!
Edinburgh about to make another change in the front row. John Andrus is going to be hauled ashore. Perhaps he's given away too many penalties, but Ulster on the attack. Marshall. Alan O'Connor, who's had a very good game. Paddy Jackson. McCluskey. Lovely pass by McCluskey, and again. Not quite sure what that was meant to be, but it's gone into touch, and it must be an Ulster line-out, unless the referee decides there was a knock forward, which I think he has done. Lovely pass by Paddy Jackson. And McCluskey, as Andy Nichol was saying in the studio, is not just a big unit in the middle of the park, he's a skillful big unit. Yeah, deft handling there. He held up his defender very nicely and fed the ball back. But to be honest, it was the first pass that just put them on the back foot slightly. At this level, if you want to make inroads and create the extra man on the outside, the passing has to be crisp out in front. Players cannot break stride, and just tonight, just on a couple of occasions, Ulster's passings just let them down in the back line a little bit. That just checks the ball carrier slightly and allows the defence that split second to make the tackles. Well, John Andrus, the former pupil of Campbell College here in Belfast, leaves the field to be replaced by Willem W.P. Nell, wearing number 18.
Bind.
So Edinburgh have changed both prop forwards.
Steady.
A good squeeze by Ulster. They may well have stolen that one. What a good scrum by Ulster. Marshall, now Jackson. Payne. Good strong running by Payne. Taken by Sam Beard. Robbie Dyack. Henry in to help. Good defence by Edinburgh. Marshall.
Away, Black.
Popped it up nicely to Trimble, who's never too far from the action. Roger Wilson. Got across the gain line. Marshall. Fian Herbst. Good support play by Andrew Warwick. Just latched onto his fellow prop forward and helped him forward. Marshall again. Jackson. Andrew Trimble. Good drift Edinburgh defence there, just cutting off Andrew Trimble from the men outside him. Andrew Warwick. And O'Connor in there quickly. This is a bit better now. Robbie Dyack. Good change of direction. Ross Ford's trying to hold him up and force the maul. Dyack has made it available. Good work by him. Now it's Henry who's getting busier as the game has progressed. And again it's Herbst, and again it's Warwick helping out. Now Jackson. Here comes Ludick. Oh, he's straightened nicely, Ludick.
Away, 15.
Half a metre to go. A try now would be just what Ulster wanted. And Edinburgh have defended splendidly, however. And have they turned it over? They have, you know. Sean Kennedy looks for a couple of runners.
Away right.
Well, the try was not quite on a plate for Ulster, but was pretty close. That hasn't gone anywhere near touch. Gathered in by McCluskey. Ludick with Tommy Bowe outside him. And Jared Payne is outside him. Now here's Payne. Can they get a little bit of room somewhere? He needed a couple of players closer to him, Payne. He ran out of options there. He ran out of support as well. Kennedy down the tram lines. Ludick has done wonderfully to get back from the Edinburgh goal line. And he's got away. I think there was a bit of obstruction there. That's going to be a penalty against Ulster.
Obstruction.
Claudio Blesano. I'd like to have another look at that, needless to say. Now here comes Ludick. Who was doing the obstruction? Paddy Jackson. Well, it wasn't desperately subtle, was it?
No, Ulster will be disappointed from earlier because they went through a number of good phases down in Edinburgh's 22. Just really a lapse of concentration was all it was. And Edinburgh's defence, they noticed it and they were able to drive through and counter-ruck and steal that ball. But Ulster will certainly be encouraged. Andrew Trimble's been everywhere. His work rate's been phenomenal. And Louis Ludick as well continues to impress. He seems to get through half tackles time and time again with a very good leg drive.
Probably Dyack getting a bit of treatment. Well taken by Mike Coleman, the Edinburgh skipper, at the front of the line-out. Also trying to crab them into touch to force the home line-out. Kennedy, Burley, back inside to the long striding Cuthbert. No chance to get into a stride though. This is Coleman, the captain. He's done well. And replacement prop forward. Alan Dell has taken it on. Good support play by Edinburgh's replacement second row. Atkins. Burley looking for a man inside and finds Andres Strauss. Good pressure now from Edinburgh. Remember, they came back from a similar scoring situation at Murrayfield a week ago to force a draw against the Scarlets. Ross Ford will do everything in his power to do something similar this evening in Belfast. Good solid tackling by Ulster, and as ever Roger Wilson in the middle of it all. Penalty against Ulster.
It's a ruck. Offside.
Referee said the ruck had formed, and I think Jared Payne was a wee bit over enthusiastic and has a look at the touch judge in this side.
I don't think that's what you call coming through the gate. It was a little bit from the side, and I think the ref got that one right.
Well, Edinburgh decided to go for the line out, and a catch and a drive over and a try here, Bryn, could change the whole complexion of this game. They certainly have plenty of options, certainly in this line out in terms of height.
Yeah, and it's concentration. They slipped off one tackle. It's the first time they slipped off a tackle in an earlier phase, and that allowed Edinburgh to get a bit of momentum.
Well taken in by Bresler from Ford's throw, and Ford goes round to try to help. Edinburgh looking to drive forward. Ulster got to be careful here. Edinburgh got plenty of black shirts in there. Ulster pushing them in field, so options on both sides. But Edinburgh still in possession. Referee is having a good look. They're very close. Ulster really digging in. Are they over the line? The referee's right there, and I think that's been nudged forward.
Held up.
Better still, held up, doesn't matter. It's going to be a 5-metre scrum to Ulster.
Yes.
Or Edinburgh, I should say. Beg your pardon.
7 black.
Well, that could so easily have been a try. Roddy Grant was the man who had the ball, and he just couldn't get the ball down. And well, I like this referee because he's hardly had to go upstairs at all for any kind of reference.
Got himself in a very good position there, and very good work again by McCluskey. Used his strength to get in under the man. Chris Henry came in to support him and just managed to hold up Roddy Grant.
Nick Williams comes bouncing onto the park, having replaced Roger Wilson, who's put in yet another outstanding shift for Ulster.
Well, it must be slightly demoralising for a side whenever Roger Wilson goes off and they bring on someone like Nick Williams.
Two very different players, both with their own skill sets and both doing an awful lot of different things around the park.
little back.
They have been accommodated on occasions in the same back row with Wilson at 6. But that balance of Dyack and Henry is quite a good one, irrespective of who plays number 8. 11 minutes played in the second half. The scoreboard as it was at the interval, 13-0 to Ulster.
Bind.
Big scrum this one.
Set. Steady.
Sean Kennedy gets it in. Crookedly. Well, of all the times to put it in squint, as dear old Uncle Bill McLaren was very fond of saying, that was not it. Silly boy, home to bed, no supper.
Oh, I can imagine the coaching staff are going apoplectic up there. They will not be happy with that. Edinburgh's best attacking position they've had in this game. They just started to gain a little bit of momentum, and Kennedy goes and does that.
What a terrific kick by Paddy Jackson. Well, there's an interesting scoreline, or 2 interesting scorelines at the sports ground. Connacht, who lost their unbeaten record last weekend, are 14 points up against the Cardiff Blues, and Zebra still with their noses in front at home against the Ospreys. And that would do us, the Ulster, no harm whatsoever, that result, if it stays like that, or that scoreline. Well taken into the back by Ollie Atkins. Van der Merwe grappling. What a cracking tackle that was by Fian Herbst. Another South African, Cornel de Preer, makes a bit of ground for Edinburgh. Burley gets it away. Beard. Ball did not go forward. Jack Cuthbert, though, has to scoop it up, and he gets a couple of white shirts on top of him. Well retained by Edinburgh.
Away forward.
Got another replacement on. The Argentinian Tommaso Leonardi, wearing number 20, seems to be on the park. Kennedy, a bit too long. Tommy Bowe, not perhaps where he wanted it. Here's Burley. So there was a bit of space in behind Andrew Trimble, who was ludic inside him. And he's kept it well in field. Back goes Kennedy. Greg Tonks. Rory Best showed on the outside. Good work by Trimble and by Rory Best covering. I think that was knocked into touch by Ulster's skipper. Referee is having a little word with his touch judge, though.
Well, again, you can see the advantage of having someone of Rory Best class at this level. There's Tonks going for an outside break. Most hookers would struggle to make that. Andrew Trimble has total confidence that Best will make that tackle. Allows him to just hug the touchline a little bit. What mark his man. Look at Best, straight up on his feet again. Causing problems, making sure that the play breaks down.
Well, the upshot of all of that is a scrummage, and it looks like it's going to be an Ulster scrummage.
Sorry. Scrum here? No. For the whites. No.
If the ball was
Come on, guys.
knocked into touch, you can either take a line out or you can take a scrum. And given that it's the Ulster's decision, then they've opted for the scrum. Nearly 15 minutes played in the second half. Still 13-0 to Ulster, and Edinburgh still looking for a score that might just change their fortunes. Jeremy Davidson, Nevin Spence, Michael Gibson, and David Humphreys. Oh, what a solid Ulster scrummage. A very solid Ulster scrummage, and Edinburgh all over the place. What a great Ulster scrummage. My word, that was a belter. Andrew Warwick quite rightly getting pats all round. And Stuart McCluskey and Louis Ludick have come in and are giving Ulster's four-square Ulster loosehead prop a real round of applause. And Jackson does him the compliment of putting in the best kick from hand of the evening so far.
Yeah, well, you can see that's given this crowd a real lift. Nothing they love to see more than a Ulster scrum shoving their counterparts back. And again, we know what Fian Herbst can do, but Andrew Warwick, yet again, showing just what a class act he is this season. And they've been destructive whenever they've played together on 3 or 4 occasions this season.
Best to O'Connor, who's been terrific. WP now threatening to just slip offside. Here come Ulster. Marshall. Trimble had to readjust, but he's made good ground and he's laid it back. Marshall quickly there. Payne just couldn't get it away, and the referee said it was forward, as Tommy Bowe thought he was in to extend his record number of league tries. So very close. It's coming though.
It is coming, and again, lovely little delayed pass, good line by McCluskey. Trimble again, who's been everywhere, always going to hit a hard line. Good quick ball. Again, you got to give Edinburgh some credit. They know that their numbers down. The only way they can defend that from 5 yards out is by blitzing off the line as hard as they can. Try and put a little bit of pressure on the ball carriers to force them into a poor pass, and ultimately that's what happened.
I have a feeling that Darren Cave is going to come on for Louis Ludick, which means that Jared Payne will move to full back. So we've got players playing in what people consider their normal positions. Another very, very good game for Louis Ludick, equally at home in the centre or in full back. Wonderful, versatile footballer. Handshakes all round. So Ludick off, and Darren Cave wearing number 23 is on, and a wee bit of a readjustment in the Ulster back division.
He's off. Okay. 2 black off. 2 black off. He's going.
Ross Ford, who looks a bit uncomfortable, is leaving the field. And James Hilterbrand is going to come on. Ross Ford, a British Lion a couple of tours ago, replaced by the 25-year-old from Adelaide in Australia, James Hilterbrand.
Time is on. Scrum.
Coming on for his 17th league appearance. Now Ulster will be looking for a repeat performance on the Edinburgh put-in.
Bind. Set. Steady.
You've got to keep it up.
No. Up.
The referee decides that that was accidental.
Okay, guys.
Still 23 minutes remaining, so still time for Ulster just to make sure of this victory. Tim Visser cutting a rather lonely figure out in the left wing for Edinburgh.
Okay, Ted, the black.
There he is. Father was an international for the Netherlands.
Bind. Set.
Better scrum by Edinburgh on their own put-in. It's a very good scrum, and they needed to get one. Marshall disrupts, does very well. Again, Edinburgh made another replacement, and as Sam Hidalgo-Klein is on at scrum half, wearing number 21. And has that fun touch? Yes, it has. It's going to be an Ulster line-out. Edinburgh slipping these subs on thick and fast. How many more have they got? Les Kiz on his feet. Must be reasonably happy with this. Jackson, McCluskey. He might just be pushing himself for a Man of the Match award, McCluskey. Here's Nick Williams. Oh, good take by Darren Cave. A lovely soft pass by Big Nick. Marshall. Fian Herbst. Edinburgh man threatening to get in the way there. Bit slow for Ulster, that's better. Jackson. Payne. Not afraid to take the ball into contact. Jackson again, quicker ball. Trimble runs a good line. McCluskey, nicely switched. Rory Best away from one tackler, away from two. Ulster skipper half a metre away.
New advantage.
An Edinburgh player all over it. Chris Henry spilled forward. They'll have to come back for the tackle, or for the penalty, I should say. Now, is he going to go to the pocket? I wouldn't be surprised. He's told them. There's no attempt to get away from that tackle, was there, Bryn?
Careful.
No, there
Too
wasn't.
many
I think
I've
just heard there too many penalties. You could see the yellow card coming out here.
Here. Okay, no roll away. He's
And they knew they're under pressure.
Same okay? Same action. Next time, other consequences, okay? Just a penalty now.
Sam Coman, the Edinburgh skipper from Nelson in New Zealand. Bit of fancy footwork there from Andrew Trimble. But no attempt to get away, and Ulster have put the ball into touch, and they've gone for the line now. We're just having another look at that penalty, and why it was a penalty. No attempt to roll away. I think there might even have a hand near the ball. Once you're lying on the ground, you can't play the ball. End of the third quarter. Van der Merwe. Good defensive work as Ulster try to move forward by Edinburgh. McCluskey at close quarters. Taken by Tomas Leonardi. Jackson, little dink through. Going to go back for another penalty. And this time there is going to be a card. And it's the skipper himself. So Edinburgh down to 14 men, albeit for 10 minutes.
Number 6, pulling down.
Well, he can't say that he wasn't warned.
No, well, that's it. And initially, Edinburgh actually defended the drive very, very well. Managed to shove Ulster back 5 or 10 yards, and they had the upper hand. So they probably feel that they actually didn't need to collapse it because they had the upper hand. They just needed to reset and get a good line and force Ulster back. But Ulster look like they're looking to turn the screw at this point. They want to convert a lot of his pressure now into some points. And you can see the Edinburgh defenders just starting to tire. That's what's causing the ill discipline now.
And having had a little spell as Paddy Jackson's replacement in the first half, Stuart Olding will see out this game in the outside half position for Ulster. A good evening's work by Paddy Jackson. More to do though. Van der Merwe. Nick Williams is in there now. We're going to see him hurtle around that blind side. Here go Ulster. They're looking for it. Williams in the middle of all that. Referee again has got the hand out. Marshall. Referee is saying advantage is being played. Taken on by Vian Herbst. Marshall switches direction. Tommy Bowe tries to stretch. Even the 6'3" of Tommy Bowe just a wee bit short of the line. Marshall again. Ulster's tight forwards lining up. They're very close yet again. That's a quicker release. Here goes Williams. He twists. Referee's having a good look. And indecisive, I think. But he's going upstairs for the very first time. So Marshall Kilgore's had an armchair ride this afternoon. Yes. And he's going to be asked to adjudicate on whether or not Nick Williams has got across the line and has got the ball down for the try. Never in doubt, says Big Nick, I think, but we'll see.
Well, he's one of the hardest men in European rugby to stop from 5 yards out. Tremendous strength and skills as well. Hard to see from that angle, but we'll maybe see better from this angle whether the ball actually touches the deck. But
well, there were a couple of Edinburgh defenders in there. I think Leonardi, the Argentinian, and the replacement loosehead Alan Dell. Whether or not the touchdown can be seen visibly, well, it's a matter for Marshall Kilgore to adjudicate. Andrew Warwick has had another belting game in the front row, gets himself out.
Wait.
Claudio?
Yes?
It's inconclusive.
Okay.
So scrum, white ball.
Okay, I had the advantage for side entry. Okay. We restart to win penalty kick against the black team. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Marshall. Okay?
So no try, no scrum, but a penalty to Ulster.
No try is penalty here, okay? Side entry, black, side entry. 20.
Well, 20. Nick Williams was pretty sure that he's got try number 9 in the league. He may have to wait a wee bit though.
Okay.
It's a stoppage for injury. Everything seems to be fine. And into touch by Stuart Olding. Well, they've tried 2 or 3 times from this range and they haven't managed to breach that Edinburgh line.
Don't close the gap.
Any little bit of evening autumn dew is wiped off. Best good take by Van der Merwe. Chris Henry has a go himself. Good Edinburgh defence yet again, and Ulster's open side flanker. Here's Williams, he's got it this time. Well, almost inevitably, Nick Williams got low, and the leg drive was fantastic. He really pumped those legs, and the best part of 20 stones barreled his way over for Ulster's second try.
Well, as you mentioned, the last phase of play, it was only a matter of time for Big Nick to get over that line. Great option. He knew they were light on the blind side. Maybe only had one or two defenders. That's a perfect example of how to go low from 5 yards out. A big man like that with his leg drive, you just can't stop that. You need about 3 men to stop that. Great technique and great score, and it was always coming, and that's the turning point now for Ulster, probably to coast home.
I did have to say, I felt rather sorry for Sam Hidalgo-Klein, who made a very, very brave job of trying to stop this fella. But it was trying to hold a cement lorry in overdrive. Ian Herbst, incidentally, has gone off the field, and Bronson Ross is coming on. This is Stuart Olding from far out. Didn't quite make it, but Ulster move on to 18 points to 0, and it's going to take a supreme effort by Edinburgh to get back into this game in a meaningful way. Knocked back on the Edinburgh side, Hidalgo-Klein. W.P. Nell, who's actually scored 10 tries in the league. He must be one of the top try scorers from the front row union. Hidalgo-Klein again. Burley, good little sidestep. Still going. Alan O'Connor putting some good work in. What a solid tackle that was by Nick Williams on Lombardi, the Argentinian. That really halted him in his tracks. Strauss to Dupreer, and that goes into touch for an Ulster line-out. Was it knocked into touch, or was it just straightforward touch? If it was knocked in, they would have the option of the scrum.
Yeah, again, really solid defence from Ulster. You can see Nick Williams, he lined him up nice and early there, got a very good shot on him. That just allows the Ulster players to get back into line and come off the line very hard again. And again, you go back, you see here Nick Williams, that's a solid hit. But you go back to that crooked in from the scrum half at 13-0. That really was a turning point in this game.
Marshall, that's a good kick into a wee bit of space. Visser to Tonks. Ospreys, you may well have seen there, just gone ahead against the zebra and Palmer. Play on, says the referee. Knocked back by Edinburgh, snaffled by Rory Best. Marshall. Tonks did well to retreat, but he's outside his 22. That's a huge kick. Olding. How wonderful to see him back playing rugby after such a nasty knee injury last season. Into a bit of space by Jared Payne, forcing Visser to play it just as far as Burley. Well, that's going to be Ulster's line out. I beg your pardon, Bryn.
Sorry, that just about sums it up. If you saw Visser's body language there as Tonks took that ball, he had no interest in supporting him. Wasn't going to offer himself at all to counter-attack. It was very much a case of just get the ball into touch and let's restart the play.
Bronson Ross, Ulster's latest replacement, standing at the back of the line out behind Robbie Jack to do a bit of lifting if called upon. Franco van der Merwe calls. Oh, great take. One comes Warwick and Best. Best has it in there. And he kept contact. That's nicely done by Rory Best, and great work by the men in front of him, scattering Edinburgh bodies left, right and centre. Still there with Best. Now Marshall. Olding. Cave. Payne, Tommy Bowe. Down onto the foot. Referee playing on. Trimble. Strong by Trimble. Good support by Tommy Bowe. How did he get back into that position? Well released by Bowe. Here's Williams. Payne. O'Connor. Ulster looking lively. Darren Cave holding in to help. Tommy Bowe very nearly through and home and dry. Good support play by Ulster. Marshall. And to work. To Preer all over it. Well, that could well be another card. Cornell Dupreer just lying over there, making no attempt to get away. Just going to settle for the penalty, I think, the referee.
Number 8.
Well, I've seen cards for lesser offences, I have to say. Ulster's technique at the breakdown is very good. The forwards are going to ground and presenting the ball nicely.
Yeah, the last 10 or 15 minutes, I think Ulster have really started to hit their straps. They've raised the tempo, you can see that. Their fitness levels are clearly very, very high. They're starting to shift that ball away from contact a little bit quicker.
Come on, guys.
Boys are hitting very, very good lines. Tommy Bowe's getting his hands on the ball a lot, getting over the gain line, and Edinburgh just out on their feet, defending for most of the game.
When Alan Solomon was in charge here, had a gentleman called Phil Mack, who was the fitness guy. I have to say the current man, Johnny Davis, has surpassed anything he's ever achieved. Here come Ulster again, looking for a third try. Good tight drive. Well, they're rumbling toward the line. Surely they must be over it. Referee says that is the try. What a stunning drive. It might be Robbie Dyack. It might be Rory Best. We think it's Rory Best. If it is, it's a try for the captain, his 11th in the league. And all 8 of the Ulster forward pack could have claimed that one.
Yeah, and they were all going at a rate of knots, so it would have struggled to keep up with that. That was a fast-moving maul and very, very well organised. Again, you can see Edinburgh struggling, very disjointed, very tired. The try before that to go 18-0 up, I think that just really has deflated this Edinburgh side, and they're going to struggle now to hold this Ulster side. And now that that's 3 tries, they'll certainly look to move on and get a bonus point.
Ulster looking to bring on, as the rain starts to come down at Ravenhill. We've been very lucky. It was been pouring all day here in Belfast. And Stuart Olding adds the extra points. And Ulster out now to 25 points to 0. And a couple of replacements coming on. Lewis Stevenson is coming on and Rob Herring is coming on. So Rory Best goes off to be replaced by Rob Herring. And Franco van der Merwe has gone off and he's going to be replaced by Lewis Stevenson.
15 black and 10. Wait. Number 7, captain. Okay, thank you.
And Tom Heathcote is coming on to play outside half for Edinburgh for a rather disconsolate Phil Burley.
Okay, come on.
McLennan back on the field as well for Tonks, so full complements of replacements apart from Michael Heaney. Not be too long before he's on the field.
Away for
Nick Williams, who does what he does best. He is the most impact player in the business. Clean out by Lewis Stevenson. O'Connor not taking any nonsense. Andrew Trimble legging it in field. Well taken by Cornell Dupreer, the Edinburgh number 8.
The maul.
Ulster have forced the maul, and that's going to be an Ulster scrummage.
Receive the ball. Scrum.
It was taken in by the Edinburgh player, so
yes.
The put in goes to
the ball
Edinburgh.
From the kick.
Odd law, that I have to say. Taken in. The kick was caught.
Well, one thing that's quite interesting, I think, is the up and unders these days. Almost since the Jared Payne incident last season, you don't see a lot of guys challenging for the ball as much. Marshall's put in a few better kicks in the second half, and rather than challenging for the ball, allowed the Edinburgh catcher just to take the ball and then tackle him as soon as he hits the ground. And I know that it's in the back of their minds that they just got to be careful while challenging for it in the air.
Edinburgh scrummage under a bit of pressure from Ulster. Heathcote does well. Payne. Deft little touch. Well, covered by McLennan, who's a pretty hefty unit. Robbie Dyack Straightened up well. Plenty of men out there. There's Tommy Bowe. Very close. Good work by Chris Henry. Lovely offload by Stuart Olding. And look at McCluskey. What a game he's had.
Away.
Well away by Marshall.
Release, Black.
Rob Herring sets it up. Marshall again. Remember, Ulster looking for a bonus point try. Williams. Dyack. Williams again. Good sleight of hand by one of Ulster's try scorers, Marshall. Stuart Olding. Cave. Better way to thought up by Henry now. Here comes Payne. Just glided across that 22 of the visitors. Marshall. Rob Herring, a check on the straighten. Tackled by Willem Nel. Marshall, now Cave. That's gone loose.
Advantage.
Cornell Dupree. Well, Edinburgh have no option but to try to run it from here, I'm sure. Having just said that, they do kick it. Bounce is so handy for Trimble. Now to Payne. A lot of tired people out there.
Back.
Gathered in by McLennan, taken by Tommy Bowe to his partner in crime, Andrew Trimble. Visser thought about it, gives it to McLennan, who said to Visser, "I'll kick it and you chase it," and Visser does chase it. Marshall needs to watch himself. Offside.
19. Offside.
Penalty to Ulster. Still time to go into the corner.
That's probably possibly the first time I would maybe criticise the referee. I think he could have played advantage there and allowed Marshall to keep going. It looked like an opening was going to happen there. He had Trimble outside him, but a wonderful kick there, puts him in great position, and another good attacking spot to try and get that fourth try.
Connacht 24-17 up at home to Cardiff. Zebra a point adrift to the Ospreys. All of Ulster would love Zebra to snatch something from that one. But more importantly, can Ulster squeeze out the fourth try to give themselves a bonus point? Herring throws. Dyack catches, and Herring has thrown it crookedly.
Option, captain, number 6.
Well, it's like putting the ball crooked into the scrum, or doing something like that. You don't really need to be doing that. That was the first real mistake at the Ulster lineout. One of tired-looking Edinburgh players. I've been quite impressed with Claudio Blesano, the referee, not just simply because Ulster seem to be winning this game, but I think he's handled it pretty well.
Set. Steady.
Sam Hidalgo-Klein. That's stuck there, and Ulster got a squeeze on. It took a wee while, but Andrew Warwick's technique started to come through, and Chris Henry gives the big fella a pat on that fairly impressive-looking neck of his. You'd never guess he was a prop forward, would you? Can you imagine buying his ties or shirts?
Your back, put immediately the ball. Okay, no wait, 3-4 seconds. No more, please. No more.
Hidalgo-Klein being told to get the ball in quickly.
Yeah. Yes. Move, please. Move. Okay. Here.
Last 5 minutes. 25-0 to Ulster. 4 points guaranteed. Can they get a fourth try and make it 5 points, which will improve their position in the league?
Bind. Set. Steady.
And it goes. Ulster get the squeeze on and very nearly stole it. Oh, it's a mess at the back of the scrum, but Dupree's done well. Great tackle by Stuart Olding. Did the right thing, took him right round the ankle, and also get the penalty. Now Marshall might be thinking of one of those quickies of his, and Payne has come sneaking up on the narrow side, but
yeah,
Ulster decided to put it into the corner, and Olding, I'm sure, will oblige. It's a very good kick by Olding. Well, they've enjoyed another night here at Ravenhill. They've had to wait for a wee while. Herring needs to get this one right, and he has done. Dyack brings it down. And also go for another malt. Nick Williams is not part of it at the moment. And suddenly he's trying to relieve the big fella of his shorts. Very brave decision that. Here come Ulster again, looking for a second drive over try. There's the line, it's within touching distance. Ulster still moving forward. Robbie Dyack has it. Dyack drives, can they get it done? Not quite. Marshall has got to try to winkle it out, and that's going to be another penalty.
Yeah, a great drive again. I mean, Edinburgh just got no option but to try and take it down or go in from the side to try and stop that momentum. Ulster look very well organised. They certainly look the fitter side at this point, which you would expect because the amount of tackling and defending that Edinburgh have had to carry out. But the scrum, probably a good option. When they kicked the last one into touch, you could argue that they could have gone for a scrum there as well. They're certainly on top in that department. A great opportunity to attack from 5 yards out. And if you're back defending, you know it's going to be a difficult cause.
Well, remember, no John Afoe and no Tom Cord have moved on to pastures new. Ulster have serious options in the front row, irrespective of the opposition that they've met tonight. Now, can this entire white shirt Ulster 8 squeeze out a bonus point try? Heaves stay the crowd, up they come. Williams with a pick. Marshall. Oh, Trimble, what a pass that was! Trimble gets the bonus point try. It was beautifully constructed and finished off with great aplomb by Andrew Trimble. The platform was laid, the passing had to be pinpoint accurate, and it was.
Wow, another cracking try. I think the boys up top are going to find it difficult picking man of the match tonight because Trimble's been absolutely outstanding, and as has McCluskey. But yeah, well worked try. The scrum's been solid all evening, particularly in the second half. Williams does well. Marshall, it's a beautiful pass. Payne runs a good angle just to hold that defence. And Visser, his defence just maybe gets exposed a little bit again. He does neither up hard enough to cut out the pass nor sitting back to make the tackle. So well worked try, and another bonus point for Ulster.
Well, that's probably one of the best passes Paul Marshall has ever thrown in his life. He got it absolutely spot on. Now, Visser's about 6'3", 6'4" tall, so the pass had to be on the money, and it was. Holding. Ooh, very close. Very, very, very close. Still about 45 seconds remaining. Another good scrum. Bronson Ross came up a little bit. Good pickup by Williams, and what a pass by Paul Marshall. Andrew Trimble more than happy with that. Second try of the game. What a take by O'Connor. What a take by O'Connor. Marshall looking to put this down the near touchline. That's another good kick by Marshall. Dupree underneath it. Taken by Olding. Visser gets it to his skipper, who's back on the field again. Mike Coleman, having served 10 minutes in the bin, also given away the penalty. WP now sets it up for Edinburgh. Referee still playing advantage to Edinburgh, and he'll come back. So you're looking at that scoreline, Bryn. I know it's an old cliche. I think the nil will please Les Kiss as much as the 30. Yeah. Well, maybe not.
Oh, well, yeah, possibly not. Yeah, I think 4 tries are good, but there's no doubt the defence has been outstanding. You'd have to say that Edinburgh haven't offered a huge amount in attack to put them under a great deal of pressure, but nevertheless their structures have been good. I have to say I've been really impressed with Alan O'Connor. I thought he's put in a great shift tonight as well for his first game out.
Well, no point in Edinburgh kicking a touch because we are into the red zone in terms of the time. So Edinburgh have had to play it, and play it they are doing. That's gone loose, and guess who's won it on the ground? It's O'Connor. What a great evening he's had, the young man. And the referee says that's it. And Ulster have won this one. It took them a wee while to get into their stride. We didn't get a score until the 25th minute when Andrew Trimble set the whole thing off. 13-0 at the interval, I should say. But second half tries by Nick Williams, by Rory Best, and a second by Andrew Trimble has put Ulster back very much in the top echelons of this league. Well, 15,000 people came here this evening to see Ulster get back on track. It took them a wee while, as I said, but they did get back on track. What an impact Nick Williams made.
Well, it's a luxury to have the likes of Roger Wilson and Nick Williams, two very different styles of player, and to be able to bring somebody off and bring a calibre of Williams on who can just create something a little bit different is fantastic. It's great for Ulster to have that at their disposal, but a number of people put their hands up tonight. As I mentioned earlier, I thought Alan O'Connor for his first game was outstanding. McCluskey was just very strong and powerful in the centre, continues to really impress, and a very, very pleasing result for the coaching staff, as you said earlier, to keep the opposition to nil and to get 4 tries, a result all round.
Yep, 5 points in this game at Ulster headquarters. Final score, Ulster 30 and Edinburgh 0.
Maurice Field and Andy Nicol with us here in the studio. Gentlemen, is that a case of Ulster simply getting the job done? Second half.
It was quite clinical and quite professional against a side who's lacking in confidence and quality. So they had to get the bonus point. If they hadn't got a bonus point, I think Ulster would have been really disappointed. But they got it, so it's a good job to bounce back after the disappointment last week.
Ulster stepped it up a gear second half to see this performance out tonight.
Yeah, we knew that Edinburgh would come out in the first half full of endeavour. Again, maybe not too much skill with a very simple game plan, but Ulster went through their phases, their set plays, got very, very strong in the second half. Their scrummage was immense, I thought, with Andrew Warwick coming on, and they just kept the ball, and wore Edinburgh down and took their opportunities when they arrived.
It's going to be a long season for Edinburgh playing like that, Andy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the only win they had was against Munster in that first game, which was a real shock. And on this evidence, they're not going to get too many more. I think they've got the Dragons next week at home, which suddenly becomes a huge must-win game for them because, as I said, they're low in confidence. And I just thought they were very predictable tonight. We said at half-time, there was no cutting edge, there was no real sharpness in attack. It was very predictable, very easy to defend.
Stuart McCluskey, man of the match tonight. Morris, deservedly so. Great performance by the young
especially
fella.
On his first half performance when both teams had sort of parity. I thought Stuart McCluskey was the one player on the pitch that was actually asked the questions of both defences, and thankfully for us, he was playing the Ulster team. But he has that balance between being an exceptionally strong, powerful man and being able to offload very, very soft hands, as we can see here. He's taken 2 or 3 defenders each time again, asking questions, 2 or 3 people there, and still being able to recycle and retain the ball.
That was the 5th different centre partnership for Ulster this season. Do you think, Morris, they know the 2 centres that they would prefer to play all season?
Well, they're going to have to try combinations. They're trying combinations coming to the European. They're trying combinations because the Ireland management are asking to try combinations, obviously with the Jared Payne. I think tonight it may have put to bed, the question is Jared Payne a 13 or 15. We went late in the second half to 15, position 15, and I think he's played so much better. He sees the game better as a 15.
For me, he's a 12 that Ulster need to stick with. What they do outside them, they need to find that consistent. Yeah. I agree, I'm with Morris in this. But number 12, I think McCluskey, he's a sticker now.
I mean, he's kind of popped up from nowhere. Certainly wasn't first choice at the start of the season, Morris, but McCluskey has very much thrown his hat into the ring.
Yes, and he's quite a different player than the likes of Stuart Olling or any of those other players. Stuart Olling, I'll give that credit, but Stuart Olling came in last year, or 2 years ago, sorry, before he had his injury last year. He came in 2 years ago and nobody heard him. Young McCluskey's come right through again, and again, he's taken his opportunity.
Okay, let's hear from the man of the match, Stuart McCluskey.
Stuart, congratulations. How satisfied are you with your own performance and the win?
Well, just more important to get the win out there and get the 5 points. I think we're just glad to bounce back after last week's disappointment, and I was happy enough just to back up a good performance last week with another good one this week.
A lot of line breaks again. How tough did Edinburgh make it, particularly in the first half?
They're very physical sides. They are. We knew that coming in, and it took us, say, 60 minutes to really get into them and break them down. But we always knew we had it in us, so it's happy enough.
A lot of competition at inside centre and in centres generally. How good a thing is that for you?
It's good motivation. Yeah, it's good motivation. So it is having 5 guys there. All are capable of starting, so it's great for the coaches. It's a bit of a headache sometimes, but I'd say they're happy enough.
You put your hand up for a few big weeks coming up as well.
Yeah, I'm just hoping the coaches see that as a good performance, and hopefully they'll get on next week as well.
I'm sure they will. Well done.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Thanks.
Okay, well, Andrew Trimble tonight, another fine performance from him with the 2 tries.
Yeah, he's a class act, and he just again knows where the try line is. And this was the bonus point. This was a great bit of decision making by Paul Marshall, because when I think they originally were going for the pushover, clearly wasn't happening, and Tim Visser had come in off his wing, but he's got to make the right call there, and Marshall got it spot on, and he executed the pass as well.
Yeah, obviously for his first one came from a bit of broken play, a bit of fumble. But again, as a winger, as a poacher, he knows where, as Andy said, he knows where the line is. Right place at the right time, take the offload, and again, great skill there, as we said earlier on, to hand off Tim Visser, which was, it was a shocking piece of defence. But you've got to give Andrew the credit for that. He's a try-scoring machine. Okay,
thank you very much, Maurice Andy. Great to have your company this evening. A reminder that our Twitter chats have been becoming very popular here on Ulster Rugby Live. Darren Cave popped into the BBC studios earlier this week and had a bit of banter online. Even Ulster's most famous supporter, Rory McIlroy, joined in. Having a nice dig there at his mate Darren Cave. Next up is Andrew Trimble. You can join in or send your questions to @BBC Sport NI. That's Monday at 6:30. Give us all your different questions you like, and the hashtag is BBC Ask Trimble. Next up for Ulster is another home game, this time against Scottish opposition. Glasgow are the visitors next week, and you can hear live commentary of that game on BBC Radio Ulster